My goal is to run a sub 12 second 100 meter in a track meet this summer, which I think is a pretty respectable goal as someone older on his track and field grind. I'm not that old, I'm still in my 20s, but when I started this whole thing, I had the idea that I would train as smart as possible and learn as much as I can, but doing this has cost me quite a bit of time that I only realized in retrospect. So the way it started was that I was so eager to not waste any time that I read as much as I could about training. So many hours I spent reading articles like on Simply Faster, on Reddit even, thinking that I could compile this information myself to piece together a solid program, and it turned into like a compulsion. And I wouldn't and I would train, but it wouldn't be very good. So all I did was be a nerd on the internet. That's when I found a coach, Coach E, to help me get faster and figure out how I can apply these concepts to myself in a more structured way. But it gets lonely when I train by myself, and there's nobody that I can take to impress with my weirdly specific track and field knowledge.
He's walking on the field. Let's zoom in. There he goes. Our strong athlete. Looking at the track, kissing the ground, begging to God for a good score.
But in all seriousness, I feel like you do get a level of respect if you're fast. At least since this is my belief, it still makes me feel like I'm wasting time because I'm not that fast, actually. So I wrote a software to try and track my metrics, but even that is proving to be more complicated than I thought about programming, about how many variables that actually exist when you try to digest it all into a program. In the meantime, before technology gets to that point, I'll continue to overthink everything because I still want to be as prepared as I can for any possible outcome. Like sometimes I'll try predicting the time that I run at a certain date, like with the timing tables, like based on your 30-meter split time, which is fun, but I don't think it's that accurate. And if there's any way to tell how fast I am, it's when I actually run it in a fully automatic timed race. Which means I'll also have to deal with all the frustrations that come with training now and again forever. Before, it was frustration with soreness, trying all these different methods and programs, kind of onesie-twosie, and when I tried that, I pretty much failed to stay consistent and actually track what I was doing, and I got injured with my calves. So even now, Coach E and I are figuring out how to build back up to a reasonable training volume and a reasonable confidence level through the consistency. The consistency of what? It's the consistency of the most basic stuff. Eat enough, sleep enough, do the right things. Don't do too much running because that's my big issue. And what I found is that in doing these really basic stuff a lot and well, I'm actually getting faster and more confident. But also, if you're like me, you'll get bored, as you've seen in my last video. So maybe it's like, okay, we need to switch things up a little bit and be less intellectual with the program, at least for my side of things, and maybe be a little more intellectual with the psychology, trying to trick myself into liking everything I'm doing. So, that's why I brought this filmer to the track with me. But honestly, I don't know why I did. She just makes fun of me.
Lightning McBolt. Bolt McLightning. I don't know.
So yeah, this is kind of my process for chilling out with my training lifestyle and being okay with not having everything figured out, because it turns out that I can't just research my way through to success, and I actually have to go through the real life experiences with a structured program to actually see where my baseline is and tweak everything based on that, and then realize that even after 4 months, you're gonna have to revamp what you're doing, switch it up again. I mean, hopefully I can solve this with my software eventually. That's the dream. But for now, the plan is to be as diligent as possible to keep track of everything I'm doing, with understanding that I might have to go into a different direction.